Hey guys, just finished watching The Flash, Season 5, Episode 2, Blocked. What an episode this was. It was kind of really, really interesting going into this. So we have a few things here. The first thing we start off with, we see Nora ends up telling everyone about the paper from 2049 and stuff, that the Flash is still missing 25 years after the crisis and stuff. And I think that's really going to be interesting to see kind of where things kind of go with that. And she tells everyone we got to get everyone's reaction and stuff, and people don't react to it too bad because, like Iris says, the first thing she says is like they've changed time before. I mean, the Legends do it all the time, changing time, and it looks like they're probably going to be changing time travel involved on Arrow and stuff. So I think it's going to be cool to see where things go with that paper and how things kind of play along with that. And I think it's going to be quite interesting to see where things go, since she kind of knows somewhat of the future. But obviously it's getting changed just by the fact of her being back here and stuff. And I think that's going to be quite fun to play with that. We see that the villain that we deal with throughout this episode, they call her Block and stuff. She's able to kind of crush things and put things into like a cube. It almost looks like a some sort of ruby, not a ruby, but like a emerald type thing. And you get like those like lollipops you get where they kind of have like a bug inside of it or something like that. It sort of kind of looks like her powers and stuff, and it wasn't too bad. And she was able to kind of crush a guy into the size of a cube, and I like that. He was like the size of a biggish Rubik's cube, and she was able to crush it. And then when he would try to move it, it's so heavy, it's the size of it's the weight of a human, like maybe 200 pounds or whatever. That guy was maybe 190, 200 pounds, something like crushed into into a small brick, like that small block. And that was really cool dealing with that. And we see that Caitlin, we had this whole episode, throughout this episode, where they're trying to, Caitlin and Ralph Dittany are trying to help Cisco get over the fact that, get over Gypsy and stuff, his breakup with Gypsy and stuff. And the whole episode, she's kind of like pushing off the whole helping, vibing her father. She doesn't want to look into it. We go into that a little bit. I would like to have gone into that a little bit more, but I think it's really cool to see how much we did look into that and to see where things are going to go with that. So hopefully we can play with that. I think it's really going to be quite cool to see where things kind of go with all this. And she kind of she kind of deflects off of that, and I think that they kind of play with all of this stuff. And I think it was kind of cool dealing with her stuff and how she doesn't want to see where things kind of go with that. Then we see Iris. She asks Barry to use his lab, and it's like, okay, what do you want to use his lab for? What can you not do at Star Labs, And she goes there. She opens up Barry's work laptop, his CSI laptop, and just straight up, there's a file folder on there that has all the police body cam footage on there. Like, what the hell are they thinking? Like, that is so stupid. I mean, you don't have to be like why would the CSI have access to all those files unless he, everyone's body cam footage, unless he specifically requested and made a request? Oh, I'd like to see this one and that one, and not just access to every single thing. That just made no sense how there wasn't anything there. Maybe they could kind of say that he had some one or two files and stuff, but not ever access to all the body cam footage and happening to be on that same one. I mean, it looked like she was looking at the body cam footage for stuff that she had, that he is not even working on, If he had seen that footage, that would have made more sense, as if later on when she does show it to Barry in the episode, the body cam footage, as if he went, oh yeah, I looked at that, so you got this from my laptop, didn't you? It would have made a little bit more sense. But the fact that she opened up a file, she saw folders and like a bunch of them, almost looks like he had access to all of them, that just makes no sense. Now, if she had gone into Captain Singh's office and broke into his computer, I think that would have made more sense. She got into maybe a back entrance into Barry's lab, since it looks like Barry's lab is obviously on top. Maybe there's a top entrance type thing, and she used that to get in and then get down to Captain Singh's place and open up his computer. I think that could kind of make sense. That would have made more sense to doing that. But just the fact that Barry would have access after all this, especially after being gone for so long, it just made no sense. It was just kind of like it was a WTF moment. Like, it took me out of the episode, and it really kind of it just kind of threw me off. It's like, that makes no sense that he would access all that, and maybe, and it would probably go through a lot of steps, if he asked for specific body cam footage for this specific case that he's working on, but he's not working on this case. We never saw him investigating the death of what was his name? I can't think of his name, but the guy from the last episode. They keep saying it throughout this episode. Do they have it written here? Cardiac or something like that? Cicada Gridlock. Yeah, Barry wasn't even looking into the death of Gridlock, and if he had been, if he was assigned the onto that case and he was looking into it and he wanted to review the footage based on stuff he was already looking into, I think that would make more sense. He's looking into cases with that, and I think that would make a lot more sense. But the fact that he wasn't even looking into that case, and he wasn't even working on that case at work as a CSI, then why would he have access to that footage? That would make no sense. So it kind of just ruined it. That just kind of stuck out for me, and it just bugged me so much. Then we see that Cicada, he shows up, and when they're fighting the blockade, I guess, we'll call her, and he ends up killing her. He kind of throws his spear, his lightning bolt dagger into her, and pretty much killing her. When XS kind of takes off and runs her to the hospital, and he ends up taking away all of their powers, or at least looks like he takes away their powers, at least temporarily. So it's unclear if he takes away their powers permanently, because Vibe was able to vibe Caitlin's father's fake death certificate, but yet it's unclear if Barry has his powers back, and does Ralph have his powers back. I assume they do, and do they have them full back? Is it going to take a while for them to come back? I mean, obviously by the next episode I feel like it's probably going to be completely back, but did it take a while? How long did it take for them to get all the way back? Because when he vibed the death certificate, he had his cut was kind of burning after that, so he wasn't able to stay in the vibe. He was only able to get flashes and stuff. So now she knows, to go talk to her mother, which I think is going to be quite interesting to see that, and I'm really excited to seeing as to where this Caitlin stuff goes, and hopefully they keep doing it like this and keep having it in every single episode, having a bit more of it. I would have liked to have seen, as maybe just, the little bit that they had of Caitlin and dealing with her issues with her father and the death certificate, have that be the full story instead of the Cisco, getting over his gypsy storyline. I think that would have been, they should have reversed it and maybe have just show bits and pieces of, shorter clips of just kind of Ralph and Cisco kind of going through his book type thing, and that's where they do his stuff, rather than just focusing on the Cisco stuff. The Caitlyn stuff was way more interesting than just seeing him getting over a relationship. I think that is way more intriguing than that. So hopefully they can continue this for the rest of the episode and kind of make her another storyline too, rather than having. Because the main storyline was obviously Barry training his daughter XS and stuff, but yet, and then the backup story, the second storyline was Vibe getting over Gypsy, and then the third one was Caitlyn getting and her father's death certificate. I think it should have been the other way around. Like I said, Caitlin's father death certificate, and then Cisco getting over Gypsy, and you have Ralph, doing that, and they just go to clubs and stuff, and they're on. You see them at the beginning of the book, going through it, and then at the end you see them on it. You don't really need to follow them in that, really. It was not really kind of interesting as much as the Caitlyn stuff. So that's really going to be interesting to see where things are going to go with there, and to see what happens with these powers. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see where things kind of go. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see where things kind of change with all this, especially with the next episode. The trailer from the next episode looks kind of interesting. It's also titled Death of Vibe, so I think that'll be Death of Vibe, and I think what is it? The summary here: following Caden's attack on the Flash, Nora comes up with a plan to put a member of the team puts a member of the team in danger, and it looks like Cisco kind of gets beaten, bites the dust and stuff, at least in the trailer. But I kind of feel like the way it looks, you see him get stabbed in the trailer, and then the next thing you see is just his gloves and his suit kind of buried in the ground as if it's been there for a while. I think that's going to be quite interesting to see what happens to that, and where things kind of go. And one of the cool things that kind of stood out is, obviously when Cicada, clearly Nora knows a bit about him. By the end of the episode, she kind of, she names it, drops him and stuff. But he's kind of hanging over, he's hovering over, just about to stab the Flash, and Caitlin knows that Caitlin, what's her name? Iris knows that he's just about to kill the Flash, and that's when Nora shows up and just Dad, and then he kind of looks up and does that. So I think that's really going to be cool to dive into his story. So clearly he has some sort of family issues, and I think that's really going to be interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that. Some sort of Frank Castle style story is probably coming up for Cicada, and it's really going to be cool to see how they do that, and how how does it compare to the classic. The most commonly that this audience who's watching this show is going to relate it to is Frank Castle, and I think that's really going to be quite cool doing that, especially with that same. There's a Thor Easter egg when pretty much they just name drop Thor in the show. I think that's quite cool how they're able to do that, which I guess it's not really. I think they have name dropped the Hulk right away, and they go name drop Thor because it's just Greek. It's just mythological. It's out there. It's public knowledge to use Thor and Loki and all that stuff, as long as you use you don't use the Marvel copyrighted parts, right? So I think it's really cool that they're able to name drop him that using Mjolnir. I guess that's not is that a Stan Lee created name, or is that kind of original to Thor, the God of Thunder type thing? So I think it's going to be cool to see as to where things kind of go with this whole episode, and I'm really excited to see how things kind of go on with Cardiac, or Cicada, as she calls him, and I think it's going to be quite cool to see where things go. And we also have another backup storyline of Cecile kind of losing her powers and stuff, but they kind of tie that all into the whole Barry and dealing with Nora, and I think that's really going to be cool to see how that goes. And that was a really cool storyline there, how she's losing her powers, but yet she heard Joe's speech, and now she's all better with that. And I think that's really going to be cool to see where things kind of go with that storyline. Maybe whenever we go, if we ever get any time travel with Nora, to see who is their daughter. I think. I forget what she named the daughter and stuff, but I think it's going to be cool to see where things kind of go with all that. So all in all, I'm really excited to see where things going with this. I'm excited to see where things go with Cicada, and I'm also really excited to see where things go with Caitlin and her mother, and hopefully we can get that in the next episode. So far, it's only episode 2, though. We've been dealing with the Caitlin stuff every episode. We got the death certificate last, we got the reveal that it's her mother, and hopefully we can make a step forward in the Caitlin storyline every single episode. I think that's really going to be cool to see where that thing goes and how that things build up, and I think it's going to be quite cool to see where things go there. So all in all, I'm really excited to see where things go. I'm really excited to see what the crossover goes. There's obviously a poster out there. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but it looks pretty dope. I can't wait to see where things going, and it looks like they're really reusing a Smallville set. That'll be quite fun to see that in the crossover coming up, but we're a little bit away from that, December 9th, so we still have a bit before there, just over a month, right? So we'll be there, so what do you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below? Season 5, episode 2, Blocked, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.